So guys, today, like our EDC video, we're going to be going over our top 3 bushcrafting knives. Now I haven't actually done a video like this, at least not in a very long time, but I thought it'd be fun for you guys to kind of see what we like to carry and what we end up carrying a lot in bushcraft. To give you guys some ideas of blade shapes and different types of blades in particular that we really love. So because Ashley went first in the EDC video, I'm going to be going first this time, and so I'm going to be going over my top 3 bushcrafting blades, and I'm going to be going from least to greatest. And so the first one is, of course, you guys know me. Yes, that is pretty true, but is the Knife Connection Rat 3, or Knife Connection modded Rat 3. And this one, as you guys know, I always like having some kind of neck knife on me. That's kind of just who I am as a bushcrafter. I tend to always have neck knives on me whenever I'm bushcrafting or when I'm ever doing things in the outdoors. So it's pretty fitting to have a nice too used to EDC, but a nice bushcrafting neck knife. And the Rat 3 is a lot like the SE3, and it does a really good job at being a neck knife for processing different things like natural materials, game animals, those types of things. It does a really good job. And this one is affixed with a ferro rod, as you guys can see, just for having a nice piece of ferro rod to strike in case you need fire. So pretty great, and I do give her props for thinking of doing that, and it's a nice, clever mod. It was pretty simple. So that's my first one. So my next one, and not to say that this one isn't loved, because this is seriously, like, these two are about equal. I just like this one just a little bit more, but this is the Buck Thug, as you guys are probably well aware, and the Buck Thug is my go-to big, chopping, heavy-duty, just one tool almost type of option. It's a really great knife for just doing everything. It's a great batoning knife. It's a pretty good chopping knife. I don't want to say it's an excellent chopper. It is really well, and like it is really styled well for chopping, but it's a little bit of a lightweight. But for the most part, I'm
lightweight, and it's the biggest knife on the table.
Yes, it's true. But as far as choppers go and big knives, this is a little bit of a lightweight, but it's a really great knife. It's such a shame that Buck discontinued these knives, or that these knives really weren't loved more, because the Buck Thug is a really awesome knife, and you can tell the designer of this knife, who is the Ron Hood, late Ron Hood, because now he's dead, but
oh, that's sad.
Ron Hood put a lot of great thought into this knife, and it really shows, because it's a great, excellent field blade. And of course it uses 5160. The Rat 3 uses 1095 for those who don't know, but this one uses 5160, and it is just a great knife. And honestly, a lot of people are not a huge fan of these types of sheaths, but I think this one was executed really well by Buck. So Buck / Ron Hood. And a little bit of a spoiler, rocking an awesome lightning strike ferro rod in here. So that's
we'll get to that a little bit later.
Yeah, a little bit more in spring. You guys will see the lightning strike ferro rod, but
it's pretty awesome.
It's pretty awesome. So that is what's rocking in here right now, but it may change its location. But anyways, that's the Buck Thug. So then lastly, but certainly not least, probably like my top go-to bushcrafting knife of just most times. It used to be the Bark River Knives Bushcrafter, but now it is the Battle Horse Knives Battlelore. And this knife, you guys have, if you've seen the review or you've seen me just using this knife, I really try my hardest to abuse this knife, but it is a superb, heavy-duty, really hard-used bushcrafting knife. It feels great in the hand. It's just it immediately amazed me, because when I started doing bushcraft tasks with it, immediately you could just tell that this knife was very well designed and very bush competent, and it did all of its tasks that it needed to do just excellently without any issue. And it comes with a really nice, thick, heavy-duty ferro rod on it, and I added this little bit of shock cord, but it comes with this ferro rod, and this ferro rod works really well. I've started a lot of fires with these two, and at the moment it's on a baldric rig, and so that is for chest carry if you want to carry it on your chest. So this is not a neck knife thing, lanyard.
That's a little bit too big for a neck knife.
This is a chest rig, so it's set up to go over your chest, basically like this. I'll just show it real fast.
It might not fit over your coat and your mitten.
Yeah, no.
But I think they'll get the idea.
I got it.
You sure?
So,
just kidding.
yes, it's gonna take a little bit of playing around, but basically you guys can see there, hopefully it's designed to sit like this and then you draw it out like that. So it's designed to actually run more of a wintertime kind of setup just under your shirt, or sorry, not under your shirt, but like under your arm, so that you can kind of walk around. Hopefully, I'm trying to find it in the viewfinder so you guys can see, but that's basically the baldric rig, and I might do a video on it if you guys actually want to, but there are other people, better people who have done videos on the baldric rig, so you can just type that in YouTube and you'll find it, and it's a really sweet system for wintertime carry.
We could throw some links in the description.
I might, to where I got this idea, but anyways, it's a really great system, and I wanted to run this one on the baldric rig because this is, like I said, my go-to bushcrafting knife.
Isn't the handle and the ferro rod made out of micarta?
Yes, it's made out of green. I believe this is canvas. It's either canvas or linen. I'm not sure, but it looks more like canvas to me. But
it does, I think
and
it
it's
is.
01 tool steel, as I forgot to mention, so really, really awesome knife though. I love this thing.
I like the leather sheath too. It's really attractive, but also heavy duty.
Yes, that is true as well.
Which I'm gonna probably say a little bit more about that sheath later on in this
Anyways,
video.
it's your turn to go over your stuff, or if you want to talk about any of my stuff.
Okay, so let's start with the very first on the list. Ta-da! Surprise, surprise! Clap your hands like a maniac. Guess who? The tops. Everybody's favorite. My very first bushcrafting knife, as you can see, is completely rusted and beat to the heck. But it's still just a really good bushcrafting knife. And I still really, really enjoy running this thing scout style. It's got the micarta handle and the kydex sheath and everything. And of course paracord lanyards and stuff. But I do really like this knife, and I probably always will. I mean, I'm gonna try to use the Buck Thug a little bit this summer, but I mean, as a go-to knife, like if we're just doing something, I'm just like, I automatically grab this knife, grab and go kind of a knife. And I really like this knife. It's definitely, maybe it's because it has the sentimentality of being my first bushcrafting knife. Maybe it's just because it's just awesome. It could be a little bit of both. But yeah, guys, this is a Tops Fieldcraft.
Yeah, not my favorite bushcrafting knife. It is actually it was like my first real bushcrafting knife. It's a heavy duty knife, and it's really great at bushcraft
Even
tasks.
if it is a little rusty.
Yeah, but it just doesn't really strike a ferro rod, so that's
no, it doesn't strike a ferro rod very well, and it does, I mean, if you want to bite deep into wood, this is your knife, but if you want delicate tasks, forget it. Which brings me to my second. Okay, so next up, we've got the Mora Garberg. It's not that heavily abused.
For this Mora Garberg.
It's not that
abused. Just as a quick note, if I haven't already released them, I'm going to be doing more Mora Garberg versus the world videos, because you guys really like those and actually wanted to see them back. I haven't been doing them because someone actually took the Mora Garberg and was using it, so I didn't have it here where I could use it, but now I do, so expect more Mora Garberg versus the world videos.
Anyways, as you can see from the last video, we cleaned it up and sharpened it, made it look all pretty and everything. But I like this knife for little delicate tasks and just for carrying, because the sheath is lightweight and I don't have to rock it big and bulky scout style like the Tops. It's just, if I want to run a lighter knife for lighter tasks or lighter carry, I just go for the Mora Garberg. Now, I think the only complaint I have about this knife is not actually with the knife, but with the sheath. We went on a dip netting trip and some of the string got caught, some of the stitching got caught on something, and we did melt it and try to hold it, but it separated the bottom, so sometimes this tip sticks out, so we'll have to fix this before I can really run it. Which reminds me to talk about this sheath as a fact that this has a bolt down here so that the tip is not going to ever come out through it, and the leather is thicker, and I prefer this leather kind of a sheath to this one. But overall I really prefer kydex unless you're going for a more just attractive looking knife, and leather is the way to go.
And I think the issue with this leather sheath here is kind of like you run into the whole fact of like, this is a really mass-produced knife, the Mora Garberg, whereas this is a really non-mass-produced knife. Yeah. So these are all customs, and so they come with custom sheaths.
Yeah, and so the leather on this is just thinner. Also, it's definitely more used. Yeah. It's more used. And overall, it's really good. It's been good. I haven't had any other complaints like with the snap or anything, or the handle, nothing, except for just this end, which we will fix, and we'll make a recommends with that. But other than that, I really have been enjoying using the Mora. I mean, even when I was rocking the tops, I always carried the Mora along in a bag or something so I could strike my ferro rods, because this thing is like a beast at ferro rod striking. I started a lot of fires with it. I mean, I've even field dressed game birds with this thing. So
yeah, it's a really great general purpose and all-purpose
really
woods knife. I really like. I've ran the Garbird a lot, and I really do like this knife. And it is one of the best bushcrafting knives out there. Like, it's a dedicated bushcrafting knife. It's not as thick or robust as like these two here, but it's a really great knife, especially for the price being considered, because both of these are, you know, 100+ knives. This one's near 200. Sorry, you guys can see the Battle Lore's near 200. So this is a really great knife that you can get under $100, and it overall works very well. And that's why I like to do the Mora Garbird versus the World, because I like to show just how competent this knife is and just how overall capable it is for field use.
Another thing I like about this knife is, as I mentioned in past videos, my Bushcrafter ferro bracelet. Whenever I carry this knife, I always, or actually technically like I should say it the other way around, whenever I carry my ferro bracelet, I always bring this knife with me for striking the ferro rod on it. So that's typically my ferro system so far. I mean, I'll probably update it. I mean, he's got a ferro rod in every knife, I don't. But we'll just have to update it. I'm still new in getting gear and stuff.
Yep.
And speaking of new, this brings me into my final bushcrafting knife. This is the
Allegheny knives, M38. It's pretty tight.
Yeah, this is the M38, and I've only used it once or twice. It's the same kind of steel as the tops.
No, it's not.
No, it's not?
No, it's not. A2.
I thought it was.
This is 1095. This
A2.
is 14C28N, or I think just C20, something like that. And this one's A2 tool steel.
Okay, sorry. Sometimes I still get my steels mixed up. It's a little bit rusty just from the one time I've used it, which is not very promising.
Left water on it. In fairness, A2 is actually a pretty rust-resistant steel, but someone was using it out in the snow and they forgot to take the water off of the exposed steel, so it rusted. Because tool steel will still rust.
But yeah, anyways, this is I made the lanyard for it, and I made this mod, which I'll explain later on the sheath. But I haven't used it a whole lot. I've used it a little bit, and I don't think it's not as good as this, and it pretty much ties with the Mora Garbird. I'll have to use it more just to see what I like and what I dislike about it.
It's really a lot like an upper end kind of Mora Garbird. It has a very similar blade shape to it. They're both obviously Scandi grinds. They both have very sharp backs for striking ferro rods. Personally, I like the Allegheny just a little bit more because it is a custom knife at the end of the day. So this Mora Garbird, like we said, it's a very mass-produced knife. Millions have been made, whereas with this knife, it's a very individual knife. And the ergonomics are a lot better, and, well, not maybe a lot better, but noticeably better, and the looks of it, obviously, of custom kydex and stuff like that.
What really drew me to this knife originally was the camo sheath.
Yeah.
I really like that. But the one problem I found with the sheath was I didn't like how you see the belt loops here.
Yeah,
would mean that you would carry it like this, which is really high for me.
Yeah.
And this is not my style of carries. I like scout style. So what I did was I took paracord, I doubled it up, and I wove it through the holes and then ended with a little bit of a lanyard. So basically your belt will run through these two things, and I'll have to show you in the summertime. But it'll sit right here on my belt, like, which right now the Leatherman Surge is there, but it'll sit right here on my belt. And I'll carry it scout style, which it actually works. I was surprised and very thrilled that my mod actually worked for this. But yeah, this is the Allegheny M38, and hopefully we'll be seeing a little bit more of that this summer. But these are...
You're going to be reviewing it.
Exactly, right? But these are my top 3 bushcrafting knives so far. So
I hope you guys have enjoyed taking a look at both of our top 3. They're kind of different in ways. You can see that, once again, Ashley kind of likes smaller knives. I like more intermediate sized knives.
You've got a whole plethora. Every knife on here is completely different from the other.
It's very different. Yeah, it is true as well.
That's okay.
Yeah, and they all have different grinds. I just like testing a lot of different types of things to see what works for me, and a lot of different things work for bushcraft and field use, survival, that kind of work.
But what works the best, we wonder?
Probably still the Battle Lore. I mean, like I said, there's no like...
It's pretty awesome.
There's no chance. It's definitely by reason that the Battle Lore is #1 for me personally, because like I said, like when you pick it up and you start using it, it's like immediately you can tell this knife, there's a lot of thought
I mean,
put
even
into
I've used it, and as an amateur bushcrafter, I still notice the difference. I was really
Yeah.
impressed. When I first saw that knife, I was really impressed.
I mean, like, even something like a more Garberg, which there was a lot of field thought put into the Garberg, but like when you pick up a battle lore, it's like, wow, you know that this thing can
hefty.
actually, well,
It's
not just
pretty.
that, but that like, you know that how it's designed and everything that goes into it is going to perform really well in bushcrafting. And it does. Like, that's the thing. It's like, not only do you know, but it also does perform. So it lives
It
up
really
to
does.
a lot of its hype, and that's what I really love about this thing. That's why it's my top bushcrafting blade. It's also a very versatile blade. It's right there in kind of like that perfect size range. It's not as small as the Rat, but it's also not as large as the Thug. So
It's about the size of the tops.
it's about the size of
Field
the tops. I
craft.
think it's, in all honesty, a little bit smaller than the tops. So I mean, it's maybe they're about the same.
They look about the same.
They might be
feel about the same.
And honestly, the tops is really in that perfect size range too.
Mm-hmm.
I think what really the issue with the tops is they just goofed up by forcing to put that stupid blade coating on it and trying to go for that Shango notch for being the thing of how you strike a ferro rod on it. It was really dumb. The Shango notch sucks.
It really doesn't work
And
that well.
no one
I've
likes
tried.
the Shango notch. It's a
I've
hard
tried.
thing to do, and I mean you can practice with it and you can get
Yes.
good,
I
but
don't like it.
it
I've
really
tried.
sucks.
I've really worked hard with that, and I'm like, you know what? No, I'll just bring the Mora along.
Plus, it's
for
a
the-
really complicated system. What I like
For the
about
ferro
a
striking.
what I like about like a normal sharpened spine is you just pick up the ferro and you pick up the sharpened spine and you just strike. Whereas with the Shango notch, like you have to hold your ferro rod. Like if this finger is your ferro rod, you have to hold the Shango notch like at a straight degree. Like this has to be like a 45 degree. And you have to hit
slam it down.
on that 45 degree. So there's like, it's a cool thought, but it's not
It
that
just-
good in action.
No,
So
it didn't
anyways,
live up to.
its hype.
No.
So anyways, it's a great knife in other regards, but overall the battle lore is still my number one, and it's still my number one carry. Anyways, guys, we don't want to take up too much more time.
We're gonna wrap this
And-
up like a Christmas present.
Exactly right. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this and took a look at all our favorite bushcrafting knives for closing out this year. And as always, guys, please don't forget to comment, like, share, and as always,